And, you know, like when I was researching to do this, I was telling you, I'm like, I keep seeing like all these professionals and they're talking about a formula for authenticity. What the hell is the formula? You define authenticity and it just has to be there. There's no formula for it. You can't just say it's authentic if it has A, B, and C. You know, you can't, it's not that type of a path. It's not that type of a thing. Neither is storytelling. It just has to be. And I know it defies like what people want in life. They want to be able to say, okay, I have one from A column, one from B column, one from C column, then I have this. This is a complete product. It's not that. It just has to be. And I think that is something that, you know, the modern definition of authentic, are they being genuine? Are they being true? Are they being real?
And one person who came to me for help with their networking strategy was having a really difficult time talking about themselves to potential recruiters or even the network. And they're like, I want to feel comfortable, right? And I asked them to take me back to a time when they did feel comfortable telling their story. And not to say that this is how they would definitely want to come off to somebody who they just met, but, you know, we went back to like a recent party where they were with their very, very best friends. It was a very close-knit group. They went camping for a weekend, and, you know, she hadn't been around these friends in a really long time, but really, you know, even despite distance, she was able to sit with them and just feel like she could let down that mask and just be who she was in that moment, to laugh without worrying how long am I laughing for, to you know, to get that feeling of connection with her friends, that there was no judgment there. And I feel like authenticity, especially in the online space, has to be that one-way channel, right? You may not receive feedback from people that say, this resonated so much with me. You know, you're really speaking my language. I really understand where you're coming from. This really made me laugh. It made me cry. You may not get that feedback from people. So I think it's really important that you always find a mechanism for you to be able to tap back into that for yourself, and remain in that voice. Because the longer that you do it, the more you get feedback from people that say, wow, I really needed to see this in my inbox, Lee. This is exactly what I'm going through. My boss sucks. You know, yeah. I really need to get out of here. And what you're telling me about my pinpoints is completely true. Let's talk. Like, that's the type of thing that you're going for. You're not going for a quick sale. You want people to be in the right place. You want them to resonate with who you are as a professional. And especially in social media, it creates a very specific audience set that otherwise would be getting targeted ads all over the internet, right? I mean, I was just talking to my sister this morning about this. Like, Facebook is just littered with these giant sharks, you know, of all these different ads. But it doesn't mean you need to do those things to have a viable business or to really help your clients the best way possible, right? If you want to create like a long-term change for yourself, whether that's in your career, in your business, I mean, finding the person who really resonates with that makes your world and makes your life so much simpler. And I feel like the more simplicity we can create, the easier it is for our clients, the easier it is for ourselves, right?
Yeah, but I want to kind of go back a little bit to what you mentioned there, because one of the things that you mentioned is vulnerability and being comfortable, you know, saying things. And vulnerability is not a comfortable place, but in order for a company or a person to really be viewed as authentic, there has to be a little bit of vulnerability. There has to be a little bit of, you know, this might hurt, this might not feel great, like this, but this is who I am. And there has to be a little bit of vulnerability in there. And that, for me, has been one of the hardest things for me to put out there, because I don't like to feel that way. Most people don't. But there has to be some realness to you. And that vulnerability is that realness. And, you know, talking about transparency in the positive way, like being true to who you are and letting people see it, you know, because when I started doing this, that was one of the things, you know, I would have never shown up to that meeting with you soaking wet. Like, I would have gone home and changed, and, you know, but I didn't have the time. And that was really who I, you know, like, it kind of made me realize, hey, it's okay. Like, you can be flawed in some way. You can have just a bad day. You can show up to a meeting looking like a drowned rat, but you still present who you are, and that'll come through.
Exactly. It's putting aside the perceived judgment of something and focusing it back on the purpose of why you're there, the why, right? If you're there to give me a really damn good product, a damn good service, I want to hear it. I want to hear how you resonate with it and how what you're selling to me really changed your life as well. And vulnerability is a part of that. You have to admit that something wasn't going right.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be very small, like, hey, we couldn't find this t-shirt, to something where it was like me, I was like hyperventilating because I hated my job so much and I was drinking too much Chardonnay, and I fully own that story. And I think a lot of people can, right? And I think it's that about the story, right? That piece of what you had to overcome or what that symptoms got to be. I think that's what ultimately draws people to say, you're real. You are a real person, and this is the person who understands me, even though we've never met. It feels like we're literally sitting and having a cup of coffee right now, or sitting and having a glass of wine. It feels really, really good, and it just draws you right in.
Right. And being that authentic person, you know, it's okay. And this is another thing that I stole from you. It's okay. Everybody's not going to like you. And I've always been fine with that. But when you're deciding on your brand and what it is, you can't be for everybody. You don't want to be for everybody. Believe me, because if you're appealing to everybody and everybody's coming to your door, the amount of work that you just created for yourself to actually have one of those people be a decent client is so much more work than it's ever going to be worth.
Oh yes. And I like to find that being vulnerable, creating an authentic story and doing that storytelling bit up front saves me so much time from having to vet clients. Like, I have people who come to me and they're like, hey, here's who I am. I need a new job. I just lost my job. I need coaching. Well, okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about your story? Can you tell me a little bit more about what you're looking for and what resonated with you, and where are you right now? And I just hear and feel so much desperation, right? Well, if I'm pitching a very long, not long, but like a very, casting a large net, I'll say, in terms of, marketing, but my story isn't specific to that journey. If I'm not specific in that, I'm going to get people who will say, well, this isn't working fast enough. I need a new job tomorrow, right? Well, that's not how my business works, right? So the upfront the upfront story that you can create, I believe that's people a lot faster, so you get the right clients coming in. I don't want to work with just anybody. I have an application process and a vetting process, right? So that the people I'm working with align with where I'm going and, are going to be great coaching clients. It's like, I can't build a business working with people I hate. That's not why I'm doing this, really, and because my service is so personalized and customized, the better that connection, or the more that there's an alignment in that coaching capacity. This is very sensitive for any of the coaches watching this. This is very important. When you're not working with someone who makes you feel either challenged to step up or makes you feel like you're working with someone at that partnership level. It's such a sensitive relationship, and people are sharing so much with you that attracting the wrong person is devastating. It's devastating, it's draining for both of us, and it also doesn't get the results that the clients are looking for. So I'm proud to have testimonials from people who have achieved wonderful things because of the work that I was able to do up front and making sure I got them in the door, and not just anybody who was desperate for a new job, which is completely fine. We all have been in that place of needing to find something, or, whatever it is, or finding your next client. But, there's certain services that are available for them, right? And we have tailored services for different types of audiences.
Right. And I think that's important for people to realize is it's okay. You're not going to appeal to everybody.
Be of service to your people and be of service to yourself, right? Telling that story helps you to connect with the right people and ultimately serve the right people and get a great following of people, whether that's online or in your workshops or, that meeting a sales goal, whatever that might be. It's really about driving that home and that authenticity. It is just the straight path that you want to keep on, even if you're trying different things like I do. I'm always trying different things, but if you're trying different tactics or just trying different ways to just make sure what you're doing is tweaked and tailored directly to your audience, this is what they're looking for, this is going to help you find that career, then, that engagement, that following, like that happens over time too. It's not something that's going to, it just takes a moment for somebody to not trust you online, but it takes a long time for them to kind of build it up. So the more authentic you can be, the quicker you can get to that place.
Yes. And I'd say one takeaway from all of this is don't be fake. Don't don't be fake. Don't like think, okay, I need to do these 5 things in order for people to like me. You don't have to do those 5 things in order for people to like you. People will like you because you are true to who you are. You are a person that is of sound morals, and you do a great job at what you do. I know that there are people out there that dislike me for one reason or another. That's fine, but there are people that like me because of who I am. And don't be fake.
Exactly.
It's so it's such a turnoff for everybody. And millennials more than ever see that fakeness and go, I'm turning this channel off. I don't care.
They do. They read right through it. Even if they themselves are super fake online, they can read instantly when someone is being inauthentic in what they're writing or even the words that they use. Choosing words now is such a delicate art for me. But I would say, so kind of coming back to our takeaways too, and I'll kind of end with this. I think, both being authentic as well as vulnerable has significant advantage. Whatever you need to do to kind of move through the perceived like limitations of being able to do that. So if there's a challenge there, if there's fear that's showing up for you, or there's a trigger around who's involved in that story and how you tell that story, work through what you need to work through. But the more that you can actually share that with people, the better off you're going to feel about what you're doing, and the better you're going to feel connected to your audience, and more forming conversations versus just a sales pitch, right? Which can get tedious. So create an instant connection, build like longer term brand loyalty using like authenticity and storytelling. People will continue to buy or engage with people that they trust and that they know. So the more that you can do that up front, the better off. Like even if one service or offering that you have isn't right for them now, who knows? I have some people who have been on my email list for like 2 years now, right? And they engage with me every so often and just let me know they love it. And, when the time is right, they buy, right? When they find something that works for them, they will buy. So just trust that the audience that you're building is for the longer term, and you're building not only just one-off clients, but long-term subscribers, followers, purchasers, investors, anything like that. And I just want to echo, like, not everybody is your ideal audience. So being you is the best way to get the right clients coming straight back to you. So.
Yeah. And I think, remembering the long game, it's always, especially social media and coaching, it's the long game. It's not going to be immediate. So what your job on social media is to make sure that they know you and they like you when they need you, building that trust so that when they need you, they come to you, not anybody else.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think both of us do, one of the things that I think both of us do is we actually both have online communities around our brand that are, I think it's important for businesses to look at that as an opportunity to really engage people in the longer term. So I will share both of our groups at the end of this video, our Facebook groups that are communities around our brand. If you're looking for coaching, or if you're looking for things to do on social media, we really kind of provide, prompts and different things to think about when you're doing certain things. So that's a great thing. And I know that I have a video content challenge coming up that Lee is doing, a couple other things that are in that group. And do you have anything in your group that you're excited about that's coming up?
Yeah, so we have a group coaching program that's launching next month, more specific for those who are job hopping or trying to figure out what they're passionate about and what they want to do next. We have had people who were forming businesses join the cohort. So if you are one of those folks that's thinking about, how do I tell my story? How do I get my business off the ground? Is this really what I want to do? I'm a side hustler. This group is also for you. We'll definitely link it in the notes after.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it.